Hi,
we are the
Dyslexia Duo.
Each week, we sit down with amazing people, including top researchers and experts in dyslexia, powerful advocates, affected individuals, and more.
Together, we break down the myths, share real stories, highlight research and strategies to advise our listeners about this prevalent learning disability.
Come join us. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Aimee.
So let me give a little background story on this. So I was at IDA running to the bathroom, like running, because we were doing those speed dating podcasts, live podcasts at IDA. I ran to the bathroom and Tracy was walking in too. And she goes, "Girl, you hurry. It's time to go, right?" And I turn around and go, "Hey, I've been wanting to talk to you." And it's like, wait, let me go to the bathroom first. And then we had a conversation. We had a little powwow in the bathroom. And I said, "I need to get you on the podcast." So go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
We had a meeting in the ladies' room. Oh my goodness, you can't make this stuff
I
up.
sure am glad you're not in the restroom anymore. We're here together.
Very important meetings happen there, for sure. And this was one of them. So I am Dr. Tracy White Weeden. I am the former president and CEO of Neuhaus Education Center and the founder of Upstream Education for All. I'm a recovering high school English and theater arts teacher. And my passion is emancipation through education.
Excellent.
It really is, in particular, I believe that literacy is what leads the way in every avenue of a life, whatever we're called to do and to be. If we don't have the key to unlock literacy, we are not able to get that lift that we need in life. So
Exactly.
I would say I'm very much tuned into how do we serve the whole child, whole family, and whole community now.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I would underscore in an AI age, literacy is what will lead the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so how did you get this journey started? Tell us a little bit about that. You said you're a recovering literacy teacher or
School English
Yes.
teacher and middle school. Well, that I decided I was definitely more a high school person because they
You
were
know
going
what?
through,
I've done all of it too. And I'm like, ooh, middle schoolers are mean.
it takes a very unique personality
Yeah.
to do middle school well. I was okay, but I was more a high school because they were going through tenopause. And that's a made up term for Tracy. Okay. So what I learned was that I was not apprenticed to win at my work when it came to being an English teacher at all. I never heard the word dyslexia, for example, one time in my preparation program.
Mm-hmm.
My one reading class was a joke.
Mm.
I just keep it really real.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically read a book. There was no application of anything. Even the class that I took on special education didn't talk about dyslexia.
Wow.
So, okay, I know I'm not a spring chick, but still, this research has been around for decades.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I went to an inner city high school, and that was where I discovered that urging children to try harder in a loving way did not help them learn to read.
Right.
And it wasn't until years later that I found out about dyslexia when I became an assistant superintendent over curriculum instruction and assessment in the seventh largest district in the country.
Which district is that?
Oh, that was the Houston Independent School
That's
District.
what I was
which is-
thinking. It was probably Houston.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought too.
It was Houston. Reading first was big. It was fantastic. I learned some good things about the structure of the language and how to teach children that. But when I requested funds to address putting a safety net in place for children with dyslexia, I was told we couldn't afford it. And now I can say we can't afford to ignore
Yeah.
those
Mhm.
students. We pay so many costs. First of all, the children pay a cost
Yep.
socially, emotionally, and intellectually.
Mhm.
But secondly, our society pays a cost for that. And the pipeline to prison is fed by functional illiteracy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's unconscionable. It's immoral for us to think we can't afford or don't have the time to do that, or to give parents the runaround who are trying to figure out what's going on with my student.
Right.
We have a moral obligation.
Absolutely.
So I'm so grateful I had the experience with Neuhaus, because I learned how you can scale this work sustainably and responsibly, where districts have the will for the work. And it was remarkable how the data would totally flip when we had strong first instruction, we had great differentiated instruction at tier 2, and a safety net at tier 3. It can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what motivated you to view literacy not just as a classroom outcome, but as a human right? Everybody deserves to be able to read and write, everybody. And social equity. So, you have that long career at Neuhaus led you to view literacy as this.
I was in my silo as an educator in HISD. I worked nationally for Scholastic as a director of academic planning, and we focused on intervention services. You may be familiar with Read 180, System 44. I would look at disaggregated reports with the superintendents I worked with in their cabinets. And then I started to see this is a national crisis. This is not just an HISD issue. This is a national issue, and it's even an international issue.
Yeah.
And I thought when they would say, can we buy Read 180 for tier 1? I'd say, that's not what the intention is for this. This is intervention. So I realized we did not have a mode of preventing reading failure. It was a reactive model, if it existed at all. And I saw the collateral damage when I visited a maximum security prison with a very dear friend of mine who is now passed away. But we went to a prison and spent the day with 60 inmates trying to earn a GED. And we talked to these gentlemen about their journeys. And it was very clear that many of them were warehoused in special education classrooms until they gave up and dropped out. They never learned to read. The teachers weren't apprenticed. They weren't taught how to do the work. Some of them were navigating the war zone of poverty, and their parents couldn't afford services, but they were identified, some of them in prison, as being dyslexic. How is that possible?
Right.
So
Right.
that is the fire in my belly. And I have a privilege of being literate. How can I enjoy this privilege and not share it with others? And as I like to say, I don't care what earth suit you came here in. You have a mind, a body, and a spirit, and your soul is afflicted when you cannot read.
That's
And
right.
so I'm responsible for doing something about that.
And last year we had Kareem Weaver on here, and he talked about the classroom prison pipeline that exists. And he talked about, I believe, his nephew who was
Yes.
assessed for dyslexia while he was in prison and is remediated and out and is a successful person now.
It's a game changer. And I learned through an adult literacy program that we ran. I saw close up and personal people earning degrees who couldn't read when they started with us as adults.
Right.
So just envisioning what would happen to this life had they never experienced the failure in the first place, if they had been identified early. It's squandering human potential.
Exactly.
To me, it's just mind boggling that more people don't have that same viewpoint. That, like you stated, like Aimee and I believe, like others believe, that we have a right to be able to read in a literate world. It is
Absolutely.
just so wrong that school districts don't recognize that and do more. Why don't they push themselves more to be better, to do more for these kids?
And this is a whole community effort. We need to educate our business community.
Absolutely.
They wonder why people don't know how to write
Yeah.
when they come in. Communication may be lacking. Well, let's go upstream and figure out what happened, right? What's going on? I saw this article where an Ivy League school was saying that the deep reading of text, that students are coming in and they're not good at it
I
anymore.
saw that too. I saw that
Did you
one
see
too.
that?
Yeah, I saw that one too. And well, I do think that kind of goes hand in hand with that critical thinking. We're not seeing critical thinking like we used
Yes, I
to.
know.
Yeah,
I
right?
agree.
I totally agree. And so with AI, we're at the cusp of this inflection point. And this is the moment. I thought COVID would be the moment that we would say, okay,
Yeah.
this is the moment. We see the inequities in a glaring way. Even the parents who were sitting in living rooms with their children, because we were all shut down,
Yeah.
their eyes were opened.
Yeah.
But I think it's the business community that's really essential now to help them understand. If we want to be the most internationally competitive nation in the world, we've got to get literacy right.
Right.
We don't want a critical mass of people who are impoverished. You may have read the book with this famous quote, "It was the best of times,
It was the worst
it was
of
the worst of
times. Yeah.
times," where
What-
there was this right seismic class divide. We're at that moment again.
Yeah. Is that Tale of Two Cities? Is that what that is?
It was a tale of two
There you
cities.
go.
You got it. 2 thumbs up. You get a star on your paper.
So now, can you describe what you've been doing then to make those changes? I know you've said you are the founder of Upstream Education for All. So can you talk to us a little bit about that and what inspired you to launch it?
Yes. What inspired me to, first of all, I'm a person of faith and I have a true north. And when the true north says, go this direction, I go a different direction. So I let my board know, gave them a year's notice so that they could select the next leader to follow me. And then I started to plan. And the download sort of that was in my head was, look at these adult literacy students. We discovered that they needed supports beyond just literacy. Some of them had a lack in digital literacy,
Mhm.
financial literacy, health literacy. So we found strategic partners who could step in and address some of these issues.
Mhm.
And it hit me. We need those supports and a safety net where we take nonprofit leaders and organize them to create that safety net that's a social safety net, not just for literacy, but for the supports that allow them to maintain it. Because if I can't get to the building to take the courses because I have a lack, then I can't take advantage of the opportunity.
Right.
The other thing I learned is it can be so lonely at the
Mhm.
top is a relative term because I believe in servant leadership unapologetically. There are people who don't. That's your right, but I believe I'm here to serve
Mhm.
and to help people maximize their talents and abilities for the greater good. That's my responsibility and role. And so, as I have communicated with other nonprofit leaders, at times they would say, would you mentor me? Would you just kind of come alongside me? And so I was just doing it naturally. And then I thought, who's helping the first responders in these spaces, so to
Right.
speak,
Right.
right? These nonprofit leaders. Why don't we differentiate support for them, provide them with the kinds of counsel and spaces they need to feel safe and to unpack issues and challenges, and then help them with the things that are high yield to press into those areas and advance their work and make it sustainable and scalable.
Mhm.
And so what was just breathing and natural to me now became a purpose and a reinvention, if you will, a new season of who I am. And I think as we look at our country, there's a reorganizing happening anyway.
Yeah.
So when things happen like that, we can either say, oh, this is so hard, this is so difficult, I'm a victim. Or we can
Yeah.
say, how can I exploit this opportunity and actually leverage it for the greater good? And I learned that in COVID because we had contracts we needed to deliver, but all of a sudden everybody shut down.
Yeah.
So I was reflecting on that and meditating on that, and the imagery of a COVID chrysalis came to me. And so I went to my team and I said, let's enter a COVID chrysalis and let's reinvent ourselves and come out different than we've ever been before. And that was when we prepared for that. Our first state department stepped in and said, hey, can you help us scale the work across Alabama? And then Alaska became a partner, and then New Mexico. So that's the thing I think when we're dealing with hard things that we may miss,
Yeah.
is in that moment, there's a mission opportunity if we don't become a victim to the moment, but we say, how can I become victorious in the midst of the challenge?
Wow. I love that imagery of the COVID chrysalis because I can totally see that it emerged as the beautiful butterfly with changes in place.
Yes. And is it easy? Absolutely not. Is it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
You bet it is.
Mm-hmm. I
I
love
think some
that.
of us might still be emerging.
We all are. Gotta get that ring out.
Some of us just like the crystals. We're just going to hang out there.
You two aren't, that's for sure.
No, we are definitely out of our comfort zone with
Thanks.
doing a podcast. That's certain. So at Upstream, you described the goal of supporting nonprofit leaders in forming a village of strategic alliances. So walk us a little bit more through the vision of the Upstream Village. How does that align with dyslexia and reading equity work?
Thank you for that question. So, for example, one of the nonprofit leaders that I'm working with is focused on the pre-K space,
Mm-hmm.
but specifically with parents. So, how do I empower this parent to make literacy the priority and numeracy the priority in a home space, right? And how do I build that bridge between home and school? Well, there are other nonprofits that focus on food insecurity. So there was work where I got to volunteer with this leader that I've been meeting with, and they built a community garden
Wow.
at the school. And they brought in business leaders. So these business leaders now are tuned into literacy and also the food insecurity dynamic and how they're going to teach these families and their children how to grow their own produce.
Nice.
So if I'm hungry and I don't have access to the resources that I did through SNAP or other avenues, what are the alternatives to that? How do we help people become empowered to do what they need to do for their families and for their children specifically?
Yeah.
That's just one small example. Another nonprofit serves children who are aging out of the foster care system. This particular individual was in foster care herself, and her mother was in foster care. So what she does is she helps those young people prepare to be college ready. Well, I can help and bring people in to help specifically with those who are dyslexic with another nonprofit to support them in their growth, where they can receive the services even if they can't afford them. Those are just two very disparate ones that focus on those who are leaving high school and those who are just beginning the journey. It's all about getting out of our silos.
Yep.
And for nonprofits who compete, they're missing the point.
Yeah.
The idea is to align and to have the same focus and maximize resources. And the three we can control: time, talent, and funding. How do we tactically leverage those variables in measurable ways for the greater good? And then everyone wins. In particular, philanthropists know now, okay, we've got ROI here. I care about this mission. And so I care about these outcomes. I want to invest in this body of people. It's coherent, it's focused, it's collaborative, and it really wraps supports around the community.
I love that. And it's almost biblical because I can remember hearing in church, we want your time or talent or treasure. How can you support our church community?
It
love
is
that.
very much a biblical model. It is. And it's about who's my neighbor.
Yeah.
The lawyer asked him a technical question, who's my neighbor?
Yeah.
And then he gives an example of someone that the Jews despised, a Samaritan. When others crossed the street and walked the other way who were religious, the Samaritan came alongside and went the extra mile, went above and beyond. So if you would, those nonprofit leaders would be that Samaritan. What if we have Samaritans who organize
Right.
and come around a problem? There's no stopping us. There's nothing we can't do together.
I love that. I love that.
So, thinking about your vantage point and the barriers around dyslexia and just people understanding structured literacy, dyslexia intervention, things of that nature, what are the key barriers preventing schools and interventionists from truly implementing evidence-based structured literacy instruction for students with dyslexia?
I would say the number one barrier is the lack of a vision. My dad taught me this proverb, and it is, for lack of vision, the people perish. And it's true. And in systems that are failing children, they don't have a compelling and a clear vision. The second thing I would say is a lack of a mental model and experience, if you will, that takes away excuses that they can't do it. How is it possible that demographically there are systems that poverty is not destiny, that are in impoverished areas that are still getting results? Results like districts that are in bedroom communities with a whole bunch of tutoring centers parents are taking their children to, right? It's not necessarily there's great instruction going on there.
Right.
They just have access to great resources. What I learned was that if you will get these folks to visit a location, I call them lighthouse campuses and lighthouse districts, it blows their minds. One of the best examples, and I want to give a shout out to a lady in Ohio, LaMonica, you know what I'm talking about. It's you. She, a principal in Akron Public Schools, where LeBron James, I Promise School is for LeBron fans.
Wow.
And her school had been low performing for a decade. The most beautiful spirit, wonderful person, but didn't know how to scale the work. Well, a philanthropist flew the superintendent central office team and LaMonica and her teachers to Houston to see one of our existing lighthouse campuses. Now, this is the ironic thing. The campus in Houston, majority multilingual. The only thing in common between these two schools was 100% free and reduced lunch. LaMonica's school, 98% AE dialect speakers, which means the dialect they were loved in is the structure of African American English, which is rule based. So they were the lowest performing school in the district and the eighth lowest performing in the state of Ohio.
Wow.
After they had the experience, and it was so funny because some of the teachers, when they came in, their arms were folded and they were kind of, why am I here? Why do I need to do this? Oh. But once they had the experience and they heard the staff and the teachers, they were fired up. They said, we've got to do this, LaMonica. They basically had her by the collar, like, when are we starting? But she didn't even need that. She just needed them to be all in.
Oh.
So she started off by saying, hey, if you don't want to do this, the superintendent's giving you permission to transfer off campus. I think only 2 teachers took her up on that.
Really? I'm surprised there was even 2.
Right. But I'm glad they made that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 2 cannot walk together unless they be in agreement. So the rest of them were in agreement. And when I tell you, started training in January and then COVID hit. Remember how everything shut down?
Yep.
But they didn't. We were able to do the virtual delivery system with them. They flipped the script. They went from 70, I think it's 74% of their students at below basic. So they look like they're all dyslexic, but it was not dyslexia. It was dystegia.
Yep.
To 21% of their students performing at advanced levels and totally
Wow.
flipping the pyramid. So it looked like it was, how's my
Right.
pyramid? Okay, there's my pyramid. It was this, and then it went to that, right?
Wow.
We focused on dyslexia supports, the whole safety net. And I'm no longer involved in that work, but I can tell you there's now a partnership with the university, which is the other thing I want to really underscore. I want to celebrate universities who are coming out of their ivory towers
Yes.
and are in service to apprenticing teachers and leaders to win at their work. That is a moral imperative as well. And there are some who are doing it, but the critical mass, we need a sense of urgency, friends. Please be nimble, move quickly, go to universities that are doing this well and change. Because at stake, this is generations to come.
Right.
And so you have the power to change if you choose to. And maybe it's a visit to a university that's doing that work. So that's the last. We have to prevent educator failure by making sure universities do not become irrelevant, but are highly relevant to the science and what works. And that even superintendents are equipped to know how to scale this work. I didn't learn that when I got my doctorate. Nothing about scaling literacy, which is crazy. It's the most important work you'll do.
It is. I completely agree with that. So you started talking about it a little bit. So I'm going to jump to a question that supports what you were just saying. So one of your themes when you were at Neuhaus was prepping for the system of change and strategic abandonment of initiatives that don't serve. What are some of the initiatives in your opinion, that don't serve? And how are you embedding the mindset in Upstream's work with nonprofit leaders in school and districts?
Ooh.
That's a lot.
So that's like that. You put your finger on, ouch, the pain point. Ow. What I'm doing, I'll backload from that is under Dr. Tracy White, I still do consulting and keynote speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Shame and blame don't make people want to change.
Right.
They need inspiration, which is why what you all are doing is so precious to me.
Oh.
When people listen, it gives them hope. Words are containers of power that shape the future, and you all are true power brokers in shaping the future. So let me just say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Absolutely. So what it takes is getting off of the doggone hamster wheel, right? Sitting down in an unsiloed manner in a district, making sure you have all of the key players, who's leading SPED, who's leading multilingual, who's doing curriculum and instruction, who's doing the leadership piece. And when we map our resources, time, talent, and funding, it's the Dr. Phil question. How's that working out for you? Right? Let's be real.
Yeah.
No fake, no territory protecting. It's about our children and it's about our educators being prepared to succeed because so many of them are under initiative overload.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks their stuff is the most important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the teachers and the principals are drowning in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to slow down to go faster, unpack those things, and determine what's not science aligned. Let it go. Let's pry our fingers off of that. And I use the analogy of a closet. Some of you may have that closet that's so stuffed, you just hope when company comes over for Thanksgiving,
don't open
nobody
it.
opens it. Right? Don't open that closet. So we open the closet, and what do we do first? We take everything out. If we're serious about cleaning up that closet,
Mm-hmm.
and we sort out, I wouldn't get this to my worst enemy. I will get this to Goodwill. I will keep this.
Yeah.
Right? It's that simple, logical process that is cyclical. And then once we've reorganized the closet, this is the step I see that many state departments fail to make as well. We need a strategic communication plan so that every stakeholder understands what we're going to stop doing and what are we going to press into.
Mm-hmm.
So then teachers know I don't have to do this assessment because sometimes they don't even get the message. And so it's a bunch of stuff, random acts of instruction happening, and it's not moving the needle.
Right.
So once that alignment piece happens and everyone knows what they're responsible for, then we can measure results. And this is the other step I see often that we're missing. That is stopping to make mid-course adjustments.
Mm.
If I'm driving from Houston to Orlando, I'm not going to just hope if I get on somebody's road that I'll get to Orlando if I just drive and drive. Some of
Mhm.
us are educating children that way versus mapping it and stopping and assessing how are we moving forward. And then we get to the destination. And that means everybody's accountable for the outcomes. The last thing is deputize somebody who has a deep passion and respect from people in the district to be the key ambassador of that work. But superintendent, you are the true ambassador of that work.
Mhm.
If you're not talking about it, if you're not showing up and stepping into trainings, if you're not making this a rally point for your district, people don't really think it matters.
Right.
So those are some of the key things that make a difference.
How often does that really happen? I've worked in 2 big school districts. I haven't seen that happen.
Not often enough because I don't think some leaders understand how tactical literacy is. And if they get that right, numeracy is more accessible,
Mhm.
science is more, all the things are more accessible. Even I've seen some phenomenal things like certification pathways, right? CTE. Well, guess what? If that baby can't read, they don't have access to CTE.
Mhm.
You've effectively denied them an opportunity because they're functionally illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good on paper. The beautiful building is glistening and shining in the sun, and they can't step across the threshold.
Mm.
Not okay.
I love all your analogies. Oh my gosh. It just brings it in. It creates this picture in my mind and it connects the question and the research to something that's attainable, I feel. So I love all your analogies.
I am an analogy girl.
You could tell that you just have the wisdom behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I have the stripes on my back from being a central office leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I want to say that too. Never forget, for those of you who are educators, you are a VIP. You are a very important professional. And teachers, I'm speaking to you. Don't you dare say I'm just a teacher. If you have been saying that, stop today.
Yeah.
You are a life-changing agent for children. And so we need to take the honor of our profession back. And part of that is, if we would expect a pilot to be excellent at flying a plane or a doctor at being surgically precise, we should expect and hold ourselves accountable for excellence as well and put our shoulders back, because nobody becomes a great anybody in this world without you.
Love that.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
And they do so much. The classroom teachers, they're carrying so much.
Yeah, and that's another reason for nonprofits to partner well with districts, because they can't be everything to everybody. And that's the other thing I've experienced as a nonprofit leader, is when we bring in those strategic partners, looking at those three variables, we can maximize the resources of other trusted partners to help us do the work more effectively. And that lightens the load of the classroom teacher and the building principal. It's just, there's so much opportunity if we'll just seize it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And so thinking about those teachers and thinking about how they do want to do what's best for their students. They really do. They go to the trainings, they learn about structured literacy, they help their children in the classroom. And then thinking about how they see a child who's struggling. A lot of times they're not sure. Is this child struggling because they have dyslexia? Are they struggling because the curriculum is not giving them what they need? How do you think that we can help the teachers know what's the difference between dyslexia and the curriculum, and or how can we prevent delays in identification? So it's a two-prong.
It is a two-prong.
Sorry.
Ooh, that's loaded. You loaded for bear on that one. So it's such a good question, because what does that mean in high school settings, middle school settings, elementary school settings? It's going to be a little different for each setting. But what's common is that we need to understand screening and assessing diagnostically. And that's, again, where I think universities are crucial to ensure teachers leave understanding those things and have applied them. My dream is that every pre-service teacher would have a lab school experience where they get to, just like a doctor, right? Have those opportunities to go alongside an expert and experience it, see it, and practice it. I'll give the example of my niece Shea. She always said she was going to be a veterinarian, and she's actually now doing that. And she's reached the stage now near the end of her journey where she's doing surgeries, right? But she didn't start with surgery, but it built up the skills. So very similarly to a medical model, we should be doing that for teachers. We should ensure that when they go into pre-service teacher, when they begin to intern in a school, if you will, that their teacher understands the science.
Yeah.
If the teacher doesn't understand the science, I've seen this disconnect where the teachers got the old mindset and idea of what to do, and the new teacher is actually doing the right things and understands the right things, and there's a waste of their time, basically,
Right.
which is a terrible thing to do. Our
Yeah.
time is our treasure. So I believe that is essential, and that coaching and support. I really respect research of Joyce and Showers. I just go back to that's my North Star for me, that when we provide expert coaching, it's a game changer.
Yes.
So is it systematically built into the university preparation process and in the school process that exists? The last thing would be calibrated learning walks for the leaders, so they know what to look for, what is appropriate instruction, what are the non-examples. They need the same type of information. However, it needs to be on the level that they can manage and grow a system. So that, unfortunately, I think is a big missing element of change management in our country at the central office level.
Wow. Wow.
That's a good answer. But I like the idea
you.
of updating the screening and the diagnostic measures. I think that's a big key component. I agree.
So, thinking about our older kiddos or even adults who have experienced reading failure, what instructional shifts do you think matters or supports for that matter most? How do you see dyslexia intervention intersecting with broader literacy challenges like multilingual learners or students from historically underserved communities?
Mm. It is time to reinvent school,
Mm-hmm.
period. It's time the agrarian model needs to shift.
Yeah.
If we would re-envision how schools function, I'll go back to the example of Helen Arnold Elementary. During the pandemic, the parents were often sitting alongside the children receiving first instruction
Right.
and seeing the children learn the structure of the language. And it struck them, I never learned this stuff. I never learned these things. When they came back from the pandemic face to face for their first open house, it was overflowing with parents. And what they wanted to ask their principal was, how do I learn these things for me? So, number one, it's never too late to learn the structure of the language, whatever aspect was missed along the way. And my experience is that once that's mastered, it is life changing. However, there's a narrative that people get in their heads when they experience reading failure. They have narratives like, I'm stupid, I must be dumb, what's
Yeah.
wrong with me? So, what I've learned is I really believe that's again where strategic partners who deal with trauma
Yep.
should actually work with that adult before they even get the intervention. And I believe potentially for some children,
Yes.
especially high school, middle school kids. Let's unpack those narratives. Let me help you understand what's really true. And that is, you're not stupid, you're not dumb. You did not receive what you should have gotten. And it's not on you, it's on the system. Now, let's fix it together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that that is an open opportunity if there are strategic partners who would be willing to come alongside any system to provide that support.
Yeah.
And I just really would love to see some action research behind it. One gets the intervention services that are based on the science that's proven, and the other would get trauma induced care first
Yes.
and then get the service. And let's see what happens. Do they accept the treatment more readily? Are they quicker at recovery? These are the opportunities that are golden that are just waiting for us.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. I do think our students with trauma or our adults with trauma have been overlooked time and time again. Well, they can't be having, what is it, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the trauma
Right.
or the inability to be literate? So you have to parse those out. But I think a lot of times you see the trauma coming back. I think it's Stephen Dykstra that says every day that a child is in school that's unable to read, they're experiencing trauma daily, you know?
Absolutely. It's torture.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that we chased graduation rates. But let me tell you, after working as an assistant super in an urban setting, a lot of our children are giving up in middle school.
Oh, yeah.
And for people who just care about money, if we look at the cumulative funding loss of children who drop out, we're talking millions and millions of title funds. But unfortunately, we do have a brand of narcissistic leadership in some districts
Yes.
where if it's not about them, they dismantle it
Right.
because it wasn't their idea. I want to speak to board members too out there. Do not let them do that.
Right.
On your watch, build it into their contract that they must sustain gains and maintain gains and systems and structures, and that we don't tear it all down and start all over again because they're on some ego trip. That is unconscionable to do to educators and to children and
Mm-hmm.
to families. And you can do something about that.
Wow. That's great. That's awesome. You're firing me up.
I know I'm fired up. Let's go.
Let's do this.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, this is Aimee Rodenroth, and as part of the Dyslexia Duo podcast team and owner of Discovery Dyslexia Services, I want to talk to you about my business. Our COUT-trained team offers expert virtual or in-person therapy located in Prosper, Texas, using proven dyslexia curricula like Take Flight, Build, MTA, alphabetic phonics, and reading by design. We also provide crucial independent evaluations and advocacy services. Don't wait. Empower your child today. Visit www.discovereed.com to learn more. That again is www.discoveread.com. Discovereed, covering all your dyslexia needs.
Hi, this is Melissa with Kids First Dyslexia Services. I am excited to share with you my private practice. Kids First Dyslexia Services is a private practice that specializes in dyslexia therapy. Each one-on-one session focuses on instruction specific to your child's needs in a nurturing environment that develops self-esteem, builds confidence, and fosters a sense of accomplishment, resulting in happier kids with higher levels of achievement. We provide a professional, personalized experience, always putting the child first. We value the relationships with both our students and parents because strengthening skills and overcoming hurdles to achieve desired goals and success is a team effort. For more information, please visit www.kidsfirstdyslexia.com. That is www.kidsfirstdyslexia.com.
Let's return to the show.
We had talked to Brett Tingley a month or so ago, and she talked about how parents can be involved in this literacy crisis by getting involved at their district level, talking to other parents at the PTA meetings, getting people involved to know about how to address this with district leaders, and then getting involved from district leaders to more of a bigger community base, things of that nature. You also emphasized engaging families as partners in this too. So what are the most powerful ways you believe that parents and caregivers can support a child and or help them in their community get the support they need?
One of the things that's so important to acknowledge, I'm a part of Black Literacy Matters because I believe I'm responsible for also focusing specifically on the growth of Black students in our country because they are struggling as a group.
Yes.
And before integration, literacy was high. There's a whole backstory to that that's really fascinating. But the bottom line is that parents who experience trauma in school themselves, who might be dyslexic, have the sense that I don't want to screw up my kid and make them worse. So the last place I want to show up is a school. Back to trauma.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
And I don't trust myself. I must be stupid or dumb. So I'm just going to make it worse. Or if I raise questions, I may become a target of educators who will then make my child a target. That's just
Right.
real talk.
Right.
That happens,
Right.
sadly, in some systems. However, I think the important thing is that organizations like the one I'm a part of, we're working on providing supports to help the parent know how to engage with the school, how to go in as a volunteer. If you're working 3 jobs, what do you do, right? Might not be the way you can do that, but you can do things from home to support your child becoming literate for life. Even if I can't read, I can take picture books and I can give children oral language. If I know I should share all the vocabulary I have, and I can create stories. There are ways that I can still advance my child's abilities. So we have to differentiate among parents and their own experiences to reach them if we really want to engage them. The model that I really admire is Dr. Karen Mapp, M-A-P-P. Dr. Mapp has something called the dual capacity framework. And it's a way of determining how parent-friendly is my system. How do I proactively create experiences for them where I demystify the data for them and help them understand how is my student compared to other students progressing? How are they growing? And so there are best practices and next practices that are absolutely phenomenal that I highly recommend. I would say find ways, if you can't go into the school, if you have a skill set, maybe you're a gardener and they have a garden, any way you can add value to your school, do that,
Yeah.
because you will get better treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. My mom, I'm oldest of 7, was the only parent volunteer in my elementary school.
Wow.
Wow.
And she actually helped other little children learn to read and tutored.
Oh.
Oh.
So you better believe Miss Bessie's children got super good treatment at Parkman Elementary
Yes.
School.
Right.
Sweet.
So there are creative ways that you can add value to your school. And when you can, engage and do the best you can. Find organizations, the United Way, for example, are there organizations that they can point you to help you address the need of your student, whatever that need may be.
I like
And
it.
it could, yeah. So those are some ideas. I
That's-
hope that will be helpful
Those
to
are
folks.
great. So, would you consider that part of that new social contract with parents for literacy, involving them in that way?
Absolutely. So what is our contract? There's an unspoken contract that's assumed. And then there's the explicit contract that we stand by.
Right.
And our word is our bond when we say it as educators.
Right.
And so when we have parent engagement experiences, we may have to be creative. For example, I know a system that actually worked with a car service because parents were working at a factory nearby and couldn't get off to come to events. They worked with the owner of this particular business. The owner released them early, and the car service would drive them to the school.
How smart is that?
Right? So we're creative beings. We have
Right.
amazing imaginations. Let's use them
Right.
and see if there's a barrier remover that makes it easy for the parents to say yes. And one other thing, parents love to see their students perform.
Yeah,
They do.
they do.
So I've seen some systems that are really serious about this. They'll make sure the children are doing something at the beginning and the parents are there and they've got their cameras. Says, that's my baby, right?
Yep.
I'm going to capture this. And they're there for the rest of the event too.
Yes.
It's not about bribing them. It's about inspiring them to want to come over the threshold.
Yeah, it's motivation. It's that motivation piece that gets them there for sure, for sure. No, as a teacher, and I was in public ed for 30 years before I retired, right after COVID, before I retired, I cannot tell you how many student plays I went to where my own children weren't in it, right? But what motivated me to stay was one, when I watched my students, and two, when I watched my own kids perform. So, just as an aside, my son, who's going to turn 27 in January, in 4th grade, he got up on stage and he did Mr. Roboto. It's like, don't worry, to Mr. Robot. I'm like, oh my God. And he was great. And he got a standing ovation because he went out of his comfort zone. And I have that video still and I will keep it forever. And I post it every once in a while. He's like, Mom, stop.
Stop it. No. Oh, I love it.
But that's the motivation right there, watching that pride I had in my child doing that type of thing.
That's
Like-
a classic. And by the way, you wear it well. Nobody would ever guess you had done all that educating folks. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's look ahead to the future, next 5-10 years. What trends or shifts give you hope for dyslexia instruction and broader literacy results?
What gives me hope are the universities that are partnering strategically to embed programs in undergrad preparation and at the master's and even the doctoral level to produce more certified academic language therapists
Yes.
and practitioners. Here's the thing. We don't have enough. We have a shortage. And for some districts, they feel like it's too expensive to do it.
Right.
However, if you build it in your own system with the right partnerships, you will recapture funding because number one, you'll have a system of prevention, not just intervention.
Ooh.
And when people look at how much money they're spending on intervention, it's a lot. So if we stop putting water into a bucket with holes in it and we get a new bucket with no holes, we keep all the resources. It's measurable that it's possible, but it takes the vision and it takes the discipline and the focus to trust the process and see it through. I would say I would like to see more partnerships where universities and districts sync up. So effectively, the model lab experiences are built
Right.
into this sort of connection and the bridge building between the systems, and that there's a real attention to, from the university, what the university is saying that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing I would say is state departments must provide technical assistance to districts. If they knew how to do it, they'd be doing it.
Yes. Yes.
They need technical assistance that is effective.
Right.
And when the technical assistance is in place to help them scale their work, not a gotcha, not a this is the law.
Right.
Oh, and the unfunded mandates, that's the biggest joke ever.
Mm-hmm.
Legislators put money behind it, state departments plan tactically, and then sell the why. Inspire people with the why. What's the vision for your state to move your state forward?
Right.
It's not just about the science. People need inspiration, especially when you're asking them to change.
Mm-hmm.
Why should I go take this ride with you? If I told my child, get in the car, we're going somewhere, it's going to take 4 days. They're not going to be excited. But
No,
if I
they're
say, I'm taking you to, if I tell them I'm taking you to, let me think where. I'm taking
Disney
you to
World.
Orlando. There
Yeah.
you go. I'm taking Disneyland. I'm taking Disney World. They're
They're
going to
gonna
run
get
for
in
the
that
car. and
car.
Go, what's in it for me? A lot.
Yeah.
So do we really think that through stakeholder in a stakeholder specific way and engage the whole community? That's the business leaders too. They need to know. I would say initiatives like this have a convening with business leaders so that if somebody's taking an Uber, the Uber driver can tell you what's going on and what the branded initiative sounds like and looks like. If the
Exactly.
Uber driver can tell you, then you've really got something going on.
That would be amazing. Wouldn't that be an amazing life if the Uber driver knew or the grocery store checkout clerk knew about dyslexia? I would love it.
That's
Absolutely.
And didn't think it was just reversing letters.
awesome.
Right.
That would be amazing. Be amazing.
That's my goal. If the Uber driver knows about it, then we're in a good place. And then that Uber driver hopefully will be getting some services too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because because AI is changing the game quickly,
Mm-hmm.
right? We know this. It's going to change the whole landscape of how we work,
Mm-hmm.
and we must prepare for that. And boring children in school in a way that's irrelevant and not preparing them for the real world that's coming, that's not the recipe I want to use.
I think that's a lot of education. A lot of
I do too.
a lot of kids feel that way. They just don't have the buy-in because they don't have the relevance. It doesn't mean anything to them if they're not a calculus-brained person. They don't
Yep.
want to sit in calculus class.
Do you remember the Pythagorean theorem and learning that in geometry?
I do remember learning that.
No,
Yeah.
I failed that in geometry.
Right? Do you remember wondering why? Do I care about this?
No, I remember wondering why
Right.
I had to sit there.
Why do I have to sit here and listen to this? If the Pythagorean theorem had been used to help me build my dream home,
Yeah.
I might have
yeah.
looked at that.
Mhm.
Right?
That's right. It's just a shift. It's a shift in thinking and a shift in presentation.
And giving them real world experiences where they can actually apply the knowledge and maybe in their community to make a difference. That's my dream school.
Yeah.
That's right. And recognizing that people do have difficulties with certain subjects and bridge the gap and recognize, you know what? They're not going to be a math person like me. I am not a math teacher. I won't ever be a math teacher. I'm not going to do anything with math. That's okay. Just let me go about doing my other thing that I am good at.
And well, I will say this too. They do need numeracy so that, let's say they write a brilliant book. They want to be able to read their contract and know if they're getting their money. Are they getting
Right.
paid?
That's
So
right.
it's that relevance piece. Even then, how do we say, well, yeah, you may not feel the love for math, but you need the preparation so you can't be cheated by somebody. So there's just such an opportunity for us to engage our business community, I think, in
Yes.
making learning relevant, where they can pull in real world experiences so the students see this is why it matters.
Yes. I remember sitting, and this was 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I can remember when we started doing RTI, we would have community members sitting in there with us. And I know, I thought that at the time, I thought, what's he doing here? Because I didn't know. But it makes sense when you think about
does.
the whole process and the whole student and everything from beginning to end.
It really does. It does not have to be a boring journey of endurance until I graduate, right? And then I get to do what I really want to do in college. That's not what this should be about.
Right.
Time is treasure. And so if we're sitting there wasting kids' time, and I have to just say this, I don't know if you all are hearing this, but our children are desperately crying out for meaning.
Yes.
Why should I even stay alive?
Mm.
Seriously, right?
Yes.
And we've got to give them a compelling reason and experiences that show them they matter and what they do and how they're preparing makes a difference.
I agree.
I think that's a big missing piece that even our generation didn't have.
It's more intense now. It truly is. One of the things I do want to plug today, I have the privilege of serving on the board of the Evidence Advocacy Center. And what we are doing is bringing honor back to our profession by categorically through literacy, numeracy, and behavioral supports, bringing the best in class resources together for free in one place.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. And we have some of the most wise, effective, impactful leaders in the country serving in this space together, volunteering our services. And if you just Google Evidence Advocacy Center, you will find a plethora of amazing resources, and we're keeping it refreshed and up to date. There's a newsletter that sends up like cutting edge podcasts like this one and others. So I'm really proud of that work and so happy to be a part of it. And I do also want to shout out the new definition for dyslexia.
Yes. That was awesome.
I had the privilege of being on that committee with the International Dyslexia
I did
Association.
see that now that you say that. I remember now. I remember reading your name in the group of people who created the definition.
Yes, it was hard, but very noble work.
Did it get
Good.
heated? That's what I want to know. Was
You
there
know,
fist fights?
it got a little, no yelling, no screaming, no throwing things, but very passionate
Yeah.
discourse
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And the result I feel really good about.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that it will have an effect around the world.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just something to write down and admire. There's a call to action behind that and there will be supporting documents that will be shared. So what are the implications as we get under the surface of the definition for how do we change what we're doing? How do we make those adjustments to get better outcomes for anyone with dyslexia in the world?
Right. Right. No, that was awesome. That was awesome.
I'm looking forward to hearing more from everybody about the definition. I'm going to do that training with Tim Odegaard and hear what he has to say. And I would love to hear your input.
One of the things I would say that struck me about this iteration is that we wanted to make sure that it was truly internationally inclusive. And the committee did consist of that representation from people who flew in literally from China and different parts of the world, that it's a broader issue than just the United States of America. And so we had to contextualize it that way. The other part that we grappled with was the dynamic of class, privilege, if you will.
Yes.
And we had to grapple with how do we position this where people who may not have a level of privilege to access resources are not forgotten. I will never forget facilitating an opening session for IDA with Dr. Julie Washington on the panel.
Yeah.
And I remember her saying, dyslexia is not a gift if you are poor.
Right.
Because that means you can't access services if your district isn't providing them. So for me, that part of our exploration was so important because the critical mass of people in the world are not rich. They're not financially privileged. And if anything, the divide is getting wider.
Yeah.
So it was powerful discourse. And I believe the supporting documents are going to make an incredible impact on multiple stakeholder groups. And my hope is that we will all unite around the big ideas and not stay in our silos of whatever our thinking is, but how we focus on what we have in common in our understanding of the definition to move things forward for all.
So I sat in that session where they talked about the new definition when they announced it, clap, clap. And then we talked about it. We did this speed dating podcast, basically. We did a live podcast on it. And then when I got back home, I think I put it on my personal business wall. I have never seen so many people go toe to toe on my business page in my life. And I was like, oh, y'all, come on here.
Hold the phone.
And I know. And I really do think it took some time, and it took a lot of y'all that were working on the definition coming out saying, hey, let's talk through each one of these pieces. And I cannot tell you how many people have come to me, because I didn't get in and I was like, I just posted the content. Y'all can talk amongst yourselves. But I cannot tell you how many people came to me afterwards. They go, I was wrong. I understand better why it's written as such. And I think this is a positive thing.
I'm encouraged to hear that. And that discourse needs to continue because nothing's perfect.
Right.
But it's what's the intent behind that phrase or idea, and what are the implications for action that produces good outcomes for the people we're serving? That's what it's about. Because sometimes we can get into ideological wars, and the collateral damage are the people we're serving. That's not what we want. We want the common good. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
No, it was great. And now I've told people that have come to me and said, now I understand it better and I appreciate the definition, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's your job to tell your admin. It's your job to tell your policymakers what this means, right?
It's so, so, so important, particularly because there are groups that are pushing legislation. And the last thing we need is a lack of coherence and
Right.
confusion.
Right.
So it is essential that each of us recognize we are an ambassador of the definition if we care about the outcomes for the people.
Exactly.
I think it matched up with what I see in my private practice with my students. That span of it could be this and it could be this, and it's just that big continuum. I definitely see that. I definitely see phonological deficits, and I see kids without phonological deficits, but they have the rapid naming deficits. I just see it all. And I feel like it matched perfectly with my own relevant experience. So I appreciate that part of it as well.
That's super encouraging. Yeah. It's complex, but achievable for us to embrace the variation as you just described it. It's possible to do that. And then we think about different stakeholder groups, universities, implications for how they're retooling, preparation for teachers, I always say, and leaders, because we've got to have all hands on deck for this to change.
Exactly.
Well, and I guess that leads me to my next question about the training aspect of it. So now there's the new definition. How is this going to be pushed out to everybody who needs to know about it? School district leaders, regular classroom teachers. I mean, how are we going to get it out there?
How are we going to get it out there? I think what you stated earlier is essential. It's individual commitment to carrying the torch, if you will, wherever we are and shedding light on it. However, I believe IDA definitely, I can say I don't believe it's happening. There are actions taking place behind the scenes now to, in a coordinated way, get that information into the hands of key stakeholders.
Good.
And reach out to those who may be on a different path that will influence outcomes to come to the table, to invite them to the table and say, hey, let's focus on what we have in common that we agree to. Now, let's grapple with some of the things on the edges and see how we can do this in a way where we together affect a wave of change that's the right wave. We don't want a tsunami that sweeps things away that are good, right? We want to direct the water in a way that lifts everybody.
I like that.
That's happening, and it's really exciting to see it begin to unfold. So the definition committee continues to meet iteratively to shape change. We're either going to be reactive or proactive. And I believe the proactive steps are continuing to move forward.
That's awesome. I love that. All right. We're wrapping it up, getting close.
Okay, gotta put a bow on it.
Put a bow on it and Say it's done, right?
Gosh, we just have talked
I
about
know,
so many
and we
things.
haven't even hit a lot of the
Yeah.
questions.
You all
Okay.
have I have to say, audience, they had the best questions ever. I said these were the yummiest questions. My goodness. Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Okay. Let's talk about Upstream and what hopes or impact do you hope that Upstream has in 3 to 5 years for communities, especially those historically underserved or with high rates of reading difficulty or even dyslexia?
Oh, my greatest hope is that, the nonprofits I'm working with, they're not just based in Houston where I reside, but they're all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so these clusters of light are forming where these little safety nets are starting to take shape.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an upstream village being vetted of these leaders that we will be working with. And so individually, we're helping them focus on their biggest pain points and move those areas forward in a good direction. Secondly, they have opportunities to connect the dots between organizations and wrap their services supports, creating proof points nationally. I intend with my board to make sure that there's action research associated with that so that we can see what's happening with the outcomes, triangulating data, looking at quantitative, qualitative data,
Mm-hmm.
and any other data that's helpful to understand what's happening so it can be replicated with adjustments based on the community being served. I am excited to announce that on my birthday, which is
Yes.
December 6th, a complement to Upstream Education for All is Upstream, the podcast. So I started capturing these stories of change agents who are doing remarkable work, who really believe that they can make a difference and who are doing it in a way that is, you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
When those stories are elevated, I hope two things happen. Number one, I hope that other people will be inspired if they have something that they're passionate about to make their difference. Maybe they'll start a nonprofit. Maybe they'll serve on a nonprofit board. Maybe they'll volunteer.
Yeah.
Whatever that is that they'll say, that excites me. I need to find that in my community and be a help. Secondly, it is my hope that those who want to provide philanthropic support to really great work will be attracted to Upstream and say, I want to know who in the Upstream village I can serve and help
Yeah.
to scale this work. Because frankly, federal grants in some cases are no longer available.
Yeah.
And so there will need to be other funding sources to create that social safety net for folks in communities across the country. It's an opportunity to reorganize ourselves. So in 5 years, what I would hope is that we have proof points all over the country that provide evidence of not just best practices and evidence-based practices, but next practices
Yes.
that others can learn from, and it can be scaled even more broadly. And that these nonprofit leaders will not give up. People can become very despondent
Mm-hmm.
and just throw in the towel.
Yeah.
And all they needed was somebody to come alongside them to help them think through and work through that problem. There are great nonprofits out there doing great work, but they deserve support.
I love that. What's the cadence of your podcast? Is it bi-monthly or
It's going to be monthly.
monthly? Very nice. Very nice. Do you have your first guest lined up already?
I do.
Can you disclose
It's-
it?
I will tell you because I like you. My first guest is my mother.
Oh, that's
how
so sweet.
nice. Is she ready? Is she scared?
Oh, she's already done it. We recorded it, and I thought it was important to start with my mom so people understand
Yeah.
me. My mom is a remarkable woman.
Yeah, she sounds
And
remarkable.
she's 85, just as feisty she can be. And yeah, the things she overcame so that I would have the best life possible. It's just, oh, her story. And my dad, if he were still here, he would be a guest as well, but he was with us in spirit for sure.
Yes,
Aw.
yes. And what a nice way to honor your mom, to let the world know.
Absolutely. She is my shero.
Yeah, I love that.
My
I-
mom is too. I love my mom.
Well, my mom is too, but I'd have to have a seance to talk to her.
We're not doing that.
That's a little scary. Okay. So we have some speed round questions for you that we didn't send you. So these are just off the top of your head. Give us answers. You want to start it, Melissa?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what is one word that best describes your leadership philosophy?
Servant.
It is. That's true. Heard
That's
you
it.
say that a few times. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Upstream or downstream, which metaphor speaks to you most as you begin your work with Upstream Education for All?
Upstream for
Yeah,
sure.
it makes sense, right?
Yeah. But salmon spawning in Alaska.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize what they had to go through to get those little eggs up where they got them.
Yep.
So, yeah, but you can't stop them. So
Right.
that's
Right.
Okay, the most overused phrase you hear about dyslexia that makes you cringe.
ooh, we can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
We can't
Absolutely.
afford it.
Absolutely.
that's a good one.
One book that every educator supporting students with dyslexia should read.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what is the one that Stephanie Stoller just came out with?
Oh, the MTSS one? Yeah,
Yes.
we had
Yes.
her on here too.
I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's
She's
amazing.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Read Stephanie Stoller's book.
Mm-hmm.
MTSS. That is an excellent book.
I can look it up for you guys.
Thank you.
Mine's at the office.
Okay, if you weren't
Okay.
leading Neuhaus or launching Upstream, what other career would you choose?
It sure wouldn't be politician. Living thing. What would I choose? Oh, my God. What would I choose? Oh, it's still on my bucket list to be an actress on somebody's something. That's on my list. I was
Yeah.
a theater arts teacher, but I never got to really. I even had an agent, but I never had time to go and do the thing.
Yeah.
So I would love to do that.
All right. All right.
Yeah,
There you go.
why not?
Yeah.
Okay, the
That wouldn't be a
book,
career. It would be an experience.
that would be fun.
So talk to Amir. He's on
Yeah.
some show. He's on.
That's my brother. That's my play brother. So yeah, I'm on his radar.
Okay, the
He's
book
on
is.
Satima.
Oh, yes.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Mhm.
He's going to be on our show pretty soon.
Hopefully, and he's got to text me back, man.
I'll nudge him for you.
Please, because we've been
Okay.
going back and forth for a while.
He
All
came
right.
on our mini podcast
He's
twice.
Twice.
But
I'll get him for
He
you.
needs to come on the full one.
I have such respect for him.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's amazing.
for sure.
He is amazing. So the book is titled MTSS for Reading Improvement.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. That's the one.
So, literacy tool or resource you wish every parent knew about?
Adult literacy at Neuhaus Education Center for parents who cannot read.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to that work going on. I'm no longer leading that organization. As I interact with people who are involved with that organization for adult literacy, I'm just so thankful that it's continuing. And my mother's actually a student in an adult literacy class.
Oh.
Not because she's couldn't read at all, but she did not get all the spelling rules. And so when she was screened, they said you probably are on the continuum of
Oh, wow.
being dyslexic. She loves it. My mom lives in Michigan and has been in virtual classes for 2 years, and she's graduating from the program in the spring.
Wow.
Cool.
That is really neat.
What part of Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
And
That's right. You're from Michigan. I forgot.
Yeah, originally from Detroit. I wish that more of those classes existed nationally for adults
Yeah.
who have been
I do
failed by the
too.
system.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
Okay, coffee or tea before a keynote?
Oh, coffee. I'm a coffee girl.
Me too. Me too.
You are too?
I am too. I am too.
I like tea, but good cup of joe.
Yeah, it's great.
Hello.
Great. So, one word you'd use to define structured literacy?
Essential.
Mm-hmm. I think that's perfect.
How about the most underrated skill for reading teachers of older students? Ooh, that's a good one.
Understanding assessment
Mm-hmm.
data.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Very good.
Yeah. And you know what's sad? Unfortunately, sometimes there's this game of pretend that I know what my data is saying and we don't. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't created safe spaces for people to admit what they don't know so they can gain the knowledge.
Right.
That's a culture issue.
Right. Exactly. If you could put a billboard outside every school in America, what would it say?
Literacy leads the way.
Yes. Perfect.
What's your go-to mantra when you feel the weight of the systems change work?
Faith over fear.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's awesome.
And for me, I want to add one point to that.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing Joyce Meyer share something inspirational, and she said, fear is false evidence appearing real.
Wow.
And I thought, well, what's the antidote for fear? Faith. So in my time of quiet and reflection, this was the acronym that I use for me, and I share it with others. Faith is focused adults intervening tenaciously with hope.
Wow.
I
I love
like
that. That's nice. I like that a
That
lot.
needs to be on like a
That
board
needs to be on
at
a
Hobby
plaque.
Lobby.
Yeah, it needs to be on a plaque.
Yes.
The
I
Hobby
need to do a
Lobby.
t-shirt or something. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
I'm the queen of that. I can do that. One hope you have for the next generation of readers and learners in the upstream era.
The hope that I have for the next generation in the upstream era is that they will be consumers of their own learning
Mm.
and make it a priority for themselves. And that means that we need to help them understand the connection between the world that's coming quickly and the one we're in today.
Mm-hmm.
And that for them to navigate that, they've got to be literate.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3 areas that they will be deeply affected in will be digital literacy, health literacy, and financial literacy.
Yes.
If they don't have literacy as their navigation system, they will be left further behind.
Mm-hmm.
But if they maximize literacy, they can leverage AI like a champion.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a business leader ask me, I was talking to him about why this is a literacy crisis if we don't address it. And he said, well, they're not going to really need to know how to read because they'll have AI.
Yeah. That's not a
Come
great answer
on,
at all.
right?
Mm.
How am I going to analyze text and leverage it as a tool if I can't read it?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's
And-
what I would tell
And don't
students.
you want
You
somebody to
read.
be a critical thinker?
We that we were talking about how that's a lost theme
Yeah.
here lately. Because
And
I'm not critically thinking about my words, but yeah.
you're probably tired and you've been working all day.
It's
But
been
your point is, you're brilliant. I think the point is so crucial that you've made. I know a lot of the learning I gained was from reading a lot. I was a voracious reader. Wasn't that I had some really great teachers and I had some teachers that weren't that great.
Yeah, right.
I was self-taught in many ways. So being able to read an entire text is a rarity now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like going back to the beginning
Right.
where we can unpack a big idea fully and then be influenced by that, which influences us as we influence the world. So there's this cyclical nature to leveraging literacy and these little sound bites of information. Like you're saying, it's an inch deep and a mile wide.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go deep.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Melissa, you get the
I-
good question.
What's your power song, the track you play when you need to get fired up to lead change?
Ooh.
I love this.
It's a song that's the title, the phrase, the key phrase is Am I Wrong?
Oh,
Ooh, what's the name of that song? Doggone it.
you could always
Oh,
sing
man.
it.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? I can't even do the words. I'm tired too. Hold on. It is the best song. But basically, the spirit of the song is Am I wrong for trying to change things? And the answer is heck no, I'm not wrong.
Right.
I'm right for trying to change things.
That's right.
And if I can pull it up, I'll read you some of the words.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a copyright thing where we can't play it.
Okay.
Yes.
I may have to come up with a different song. Let's see. So, let me see if I can find it. I don't know. Something about this song, it just captivates me. Okay. It goes like this. Am I wrong for thinking out the box from where I stay? Am I wrong for saying that I'll choose another way. I ain't trying to do what everybody else is doing just because everybody doing what they all do. If one thing I know, how far would I grow? I'm walking down the road of mine, this road that I call home. That's the first phrase.
Who
It's
is
powerful.
who
What's
who
the
sings
title?
it? Who's the
It's
artist?
it's Nico and Vince, Nico and Vince, Vinz. And it was produced in 2014, and it's Am I Wrong? And it is so powerful. And it's about vision. And you're going to have your naysayers, you're going to have
Yeah.
your energy vampires who are trying to suck you dry, but you don't let them. You
Right.
just brush their dust off of you and you keep moving, because when you see something that needs to change, our job with justice is making wrong things right on our watch.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And you don't let anybody turn you around from doing that. That's
Right.
the sword to fall on. If there's a sword
Yeah.
that you want to fall on, that's the one.
Right.
And then you just take it one day at a time, do the best you can that day, and just keep pressing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been such a great interview. And I'm sure you didn't think you were going to talk for an hour and a half, but this has been great. This has been great content. There's not a thing I would edit out of this other than me saying, Greg, take that out. But this has just been such a great conversation.
That means a lot because you talk to a lot of people. I really am honored by that.
Aw.
Truly. And I didn't know it would. Where did the time go? That was fun. I hang with you anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely. My honor and pleasure. And keep shining.
You too. And
Thank you.
we're gonna say our goodbyes, and then we're gonna do a little quick follow up with you. Okay.
Okay.
So this is Aimee.
And Melissa.
And we're the
Dyslexia Duo.
Until next time,
Bye.
bye.
The Dyslexia Duo hosts are Melissa Dean.
And Aimee Rodenroth. The producer is Greg Rodenroth.
Dyslexia awareness is so important. Please share with your friends, family, and anyone who needs to know more about dyslexia.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Dyslexia Duo.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.